Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Giving you guys a video called Don't Make Your Partner the Enemy. Alright, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Please click on the bell button for a notification of the uploads, and we appreciate you. Guys, we appreciate you. You understand? Mineral gang, you understand? You got the minerals, you got the minerals. Alright, cool. So quite recently I had an incident with my missus. I was saying to guys on Twitter, I had an incident with the missus, and what happened was that obviously there's a situation where I felt I was absolutely right. I felt like I had every right to respond the way that I responded. You understand? Like, I felt like I was justified in my action. Now, the reaction to the action was a reaction of somebody who considered the person who was in front of me as an enemy and not as my partner. And this is very, very crucial, because in relationships, if you see your partner as an enemy and you deal with them as an enemy, guess what? You kill your enemy. And in that reason, in that shape or form, you kill your relationship, or you kill your marriage, or whatever you're doing at the time. You're killing that interaction that you have between one another. So I want to talk to you guys about why you become enemies, and then we can start dealing with another video, which will be dealing with how to stop that from happening. So in my particular case, I was triggered. I had a past trauma. Okay, now many of you, especially women who are watching this, have had traumatic experiences. You've been cheated on, you've been physically abused, you've been sexually abused, you've been financially robbed by guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, there isn't a place where you probably haven't suffered some type of ill from the opposite sex in some shape and in some form. And therefore, in that particular case, you've dealt with, some type of trauma that's come from those particular events. And for me, I had dealt with a trauma, an infidelity trauma, right? And one of the actions that happened, the current event that happened was reminding me of a past event. Okay, the person didn't do what the person didn't cheat on me or anything like that, but the event now, the present one, was triggering a past event, which then led me to see from a traumatic which began to let me see from a traumatic viewpoint, and therefore my reaction was one out of fear and not total confidence. You know, the Bible says that perfect love casts out fear, right? So when you're acting in its truest form of love, it casts out the fear. If you act in fear, oftentimes the reaction is a violent one. It could be verbally violent, it could be physically violent, do you know what I mean? But it can be emotionally violent. It doesn't bring about a peace, and doesn't bring about a good enough resolution in your relationships. And this is why a lot of relationships break down. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I saw my person as an enemy. A traumatic event made me see that person and say, hey, I'm not going through that again. You've become my enemy, and the way I'm going to deal with you is like my enemy. Number two, during the case of that, obviously I had told the person, this particular action kind of triggers me. You know what I mean? This particular action, I don't like it, kind of thing, right? Now, people don't, you see, when you feel someone has done something intentionally, okay, when you feel like someone's doing something on purpose, because you have an expectation of that person's behavior and they flout that expectation, whether you said it or not, you feel like that person is doing something intentionally, you will act as if that person is your enemy. Because that person doing something, in your eyes, did it intentionally, and only an enemy, not a friend, will do that intentionally to you. And so now you react as if that partner of yours is your enemy. Do you hear me? Yeah? Because of a broken expectation, right? Another reason why I began to treat that person like an enemy is because, and I'm going to say it again, fear. And the fear shut up my, I didn't want to be taken for a mug, right? Pride, I should say, right? When pride sets in, you will see the person like an enemy. What was the pride here? The pride was that, hey, can't take me for a mug. No. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You know what I mean? I was thinking the person was trying to get one over me, right? Psychologically, you think this in your head. Excuse me, you're not gonna get one over me, right? And that then began to lead to a point that I stopped listening and I started reasoning with what I thought you did, and I no longer asked the right questions to get the why out of you, and then I couldn't really communicate my actual feelings. When you feel like you can't communicate your full feelings, you can't begin to express how you truly feel, but you express anger alone, or you express frustration alone without actually being able to get down to the core crux of things. Yeah, you feel hurt. Yeah, without being able to explain that you feel hurt, but you want to go with anger and you want to go with wrath. Then guess what? You're not acting in a place of pure confidence and love. You're acting in a place of either fear or pride, and pride oftentimes coming from a fear, right, of being exposed. You don't want to be vulnerable. And so because of that fear and that pride, I couldn't express myself at my truest form. Therefore, now the partner I was expressing, what I was expressing was a deep-seated anger. Again, linking that to the traumatic experience as well from the past. And then I launched that onto my partner, because then now, I always say this as well, you may be right, you may be justified, but in your reaction, it can make you wrong. The Bible says, be angry and sin not. It lets you know that it's alright to be angry. It's okay not to be okay. You understand? But it gets to a point when your reaction becomes wrong. You understand? So at that point, my reaction was wrong. My reaction was a very emotional one. I want to do this as well. To this point as well. You see an enemy because you are living in your emotions and not expressing your emotion. My God. When God gave this to me, I was like, whoa, God, what are you trying to allow me, man? He said, listen, you are living in your emotion, but you're not expressing it. There's nothing wrong with emotion. God himself is a jealous God. God himself, listen, he gets angry. Like, I mean, he's a loving God. Like, he has emotions, right? But you have to understand this. Like, he's saying, listen, you can't live in your emotion. You have to express your emotion, right? You have to express how you feel, not just live in it. Because a lot of people live in how they feel and don't express, and then it explodes. Do you feel me? Yeah? I want to say this as well. The reason why the last point I'm going to make here is that the reason why I saw this person as an enemy is simply because I've been trained to see you as an enemy. Many of us have not been trained in a way to be able to slow down, consider what's been said, think, take in information, and ask why question. And the reason why is because a lot of us have learned how to react rather than actually rather than being able to settle down, slow the pace down, and then come at the correct time. What does that take? That takes training. That takes a time. That takes you having to meditate upon your actions. Say, hey, you know what? These actions that I have, which are responsive, don't always give me the result I want. All right, let me rethink this. Let me actually think that, slow down, and go, okay, cool. You know what? Maybe this is not the way to go. Right? I wasn't unable to do that because I was constantly reacting. Right? And so you see that person as an enemy because you're running at speed. You're not slowing down. When you don't slow down, you can't see and say, look, if you're in a war zone, everybody can look the same. Anybody can look like your enemy at that point because you're running at speed, you're moving at speed, like you haven't got time to think. You just got to react to save your life. And that's where a lot of people are. They're in survival mode. I've got to survive. And when you get to that point, you can now start to see your partner as an enemy and not your partner. So let me end on this. Your enemy isn't your partner. It's your partner. Partnership. We're meant to come together and get things done. We're not meant to come together, butt heads and kill one another. That's not what they're there for. So, guys, we'll drop on a part 2 about how to really overcome this as well, and stop looking at your partner like an enemy. All right, guys, appreciate you so lots. More love.